All right, today we are cracking open one of the oldest, and honestly, one of the most tragic cold cases in history. We're talking about Sophocles' Oedipus Rex, but we're not going to look at it just as a play. No, we're treating this as the ultimate detective story, where the lead investigator is hunting for a killer, and, well, the main suspect turns out to be himself.
So let me start by asking you this, and it's really the question at the heart of the entire story. What if the one truth you were desperately searching for was the very thing that would completely destroy your life? Just keep that question in mind as we start to unravel this thing.
So our investigation begins in a city that is on its knees. We're in Thebes, and the place is in the middle of a terrible, terrible crisis. And its king? He's about to make a promise that he is going to regret for the rest of his life.
And when I say dying, I mean it. This isn't just some small problem. Thebes is in a full-on state of emergency. A horrible plague is just ripping through the city. There's death and suffering everywhere you look. The people are absolutely desperate, and they turn to the one person they think can save them, their king, Oedipus.
Oedipus, being a good ruler, sends for help from the gods, specifically the oracle at Delphi. And the message that comes back is crystal clear and it's chilling. This plague isn't random, it's a curse. The city is polluted because there's a murderer walking free. And to fix it, to heal Thebes, they have to find the person who killed the old king, Laius, and punish them. The investigation is officially on.
And this right here, this is where the tragic irony just hits you like a ton of bricks. Oedipus stands up in front of his suffering people and makes this powerful, solemn vow. He curses the killer, whoever he may be, and he promises he will drag this dark secret into the light. Of course, he has no idea he's just cursed himself. It's this perfect storm of free will versus fate. His personal choice to hunt for the truth is the very thing that will lead him to his terrible destiny.
Okay, so every detective needs a first lead. Oedipus, our detective king, calls in an expert witness. But instead of getting some helpful answers, he gets an accusation that sounds completely insane. Oedipus calls for Tiresias, this legendary blind prophet. Now, in Greek tragedies, there's this big theme of blindness versus insight, the idea that the person who can't physically see is the one who can see the real truth. And boy, does Tiresias see it. He knows exactly what went down with King Laius, but he's terrified to say it. He actually begs Oedipus to just drop the whole investigation, which, only makes Oedipus even more suspicious. And this is where it all just explodes. Oedipus keeps pushing and pushing, and finally Tiresias snaps and just blurts it out. "You are the murderer you seek." Well, Oedipus is furious. He can't even wrap his head around it. His mind immediately goes to, "This is a conspiracy. My brother-in-law Creon is plotting with you to take my throne." He's so blinded by his own pride, he thinks the truth is just a political attack. So with the investigation basically at a dead end, Oedipus's wife, Jocasta, comes in to try and calm things down. She wants to prove that all these prophets are frauds, but in doing so, she accidentally gives Oedipus the most important clue in the entire case. Jocasta sees her husband just fuming about the prophet and thinks she can help. She's like, "Honey, don't listen to any of that stuff. Prophecies are totally meaningless." And she thinks she has the perfect story to prove her point, a story from her own past, with her first husband, King Laius. And honestly, her logic seems pretty solid, right? She says, an oracle told Laius his own son would kill him. So we made sure that couldn't happen. We had our newborn son abandoned on a mountain. Problem solved. Then, years later, Laius was killed by some random robbers. See, prophecies are fake. It sounds like a perfect alibi, except for one little detail she mentions, that Laius was killed where 3 roads meet. And that phrase just makes Oedipus's blood run cold. Because what Jocasta doesn't know is Oedipus's own backstory. He ran away from his home in Corinth because he heard a prophecy that he would kill his father and marry his mother. And on his journey, trying to escape that very fate, he got into a nasty fight, sort of an ancient road rage incident, with an older man and his servants at a place where 3 roads met. He killed them all. And for the first time, Oedipus starts to see this horrifying connection. Okay, this is the moment everything starts speeding up. The dominoes are about to fall, and fast. All these scattered pieces are about to snap together into one final, horrifying picture. Right as Oedipus is wrestling with this awful possibility, a messenger shows up. He's from Corinth, Oedipus's hometown, and he's got news about the man Oedipus believes is his father, King Polybus. At first, the news sounds great. King Polybus is dead from old age.
Oedipus is so relieved. He thinks, yes, the prophecy was wrong. I didn't kill my father. But the messenger, trying to be helpful, keeps talking. He says, oh, and by the way, Polybus and Merope, they weren't your real parents. What? He then tells Oedipus that he was found as a baby, abandoned on a mountain, with his ankles pierced and tied together. And the person who gave him the baby? A shepherd from Thebes.
And now it all comes down to one last person. It turns out the sole survivor of Laius's attack, the guy Oedipus had already sent for, is the very same shepherd who gave the baby away all those years ago. He is the one person connecting both crimes. At this point, Jocasta gets it. She sees the whole horrible truth and begs Oedipus to stop, to ask no more questions. But he can't. He has to know.
And here it is, the final piece of the puzzle. The shepherd is brought in, and under intense pressure, he finally breaks. He confirms everything. The baby he gave to the other man, yes, that was the son of Laius and Jocasta. And the man Oedipus killed at the crossroads all those years ago, yes, that was King Laius.
And there you have it. The investigation is over. The truth Oedipus swore he would bring into the light has been revealed, and it's a monster. The savior of the city is actually its disease. The righteous judge is the guilty man. Case closed.
So now we go from the investigation to the sentencing. The truth is out, and the consequences are swift, they are brutal, and they are absolutely devastating for everyone.
The moment the truth is confirmed, Jocasta, his mother, his wife, she runs from the room and hangs herself. Oedipus, in a complete frenzy of grief and self-hatred, finds her. He takes the golden pins from her dress and plunges them into his own eyes, blinding himself. He screams that he can no longer stand to look at the world he's created. And then, a broken man, he begs to be exiled from the very city he once saved. As Oedipus is led away, blind and banished, the chorus gives us this one final bleak piece of wisdom. It basically means, don't ever call a person happy or lucky until they're dead and gone, because you never know how their story will end. Oedipus started his day as a beloved hero and ended it as a blind, exiled murderer who had committed unimaginable crimes.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Jocasta begged him to stop, to live in a happy lie. Oedipus chose to know the devastating truth. What would you do? His relentless investigation saved his city, but it absolutely destroyed his life. And it leaves us with this timeless question about fate and knowledge, and whether some truths are better off left in the dark.